Welcome to Unselfishly Me, a podcast all about self-love, self-care, and everything in between. I'm Jane, a personal trainer with a focus on self-love. Each week, we'll be chatting to someone about their self-love journey, how long it took, and what it took to get there. Today's guest is all the way from Canada. Told her in the session that she actually was my first Canadian, which is amazing. So I'm really excited for you to listen to this episode. It is something that a lot of us struggle with. I think we were chatting about it. A lot of us feel like we cannot be who we want to be. A lot of us feel like we're not good enough in all areas of life or in some areas of life. And she just really allows you to step into your power and encourages it. And I think that is so important today. Society telling us we can't be like this, we can't be loud, we can't be proud, we can't be big, we can't be small. Like, what do you want us to be? And she's just all about stepping into your power, stepping into your truth. And yeah, this topic might be a little bit uncomfortable for some of us who maybe feel like we can't be who we want to be. We can't be whoever we think we could be. There are so many aspects to it that I just love that she gives us permission to be who we are. And I feel like she is so bold and brave and allowing herself to be exactly who she's meant to be. She is definitely meant to be doing this work, like unbelievable. She is so confident within herself and confident in the work that she does and how important it is. And I just loved hearing her talk about it. It's just, oh, you're here. I'm just literally sitting there in awe. I love hearing about it. So she is an empowerment and sexuality coach, which when I say that, you're probably like, oh my gosh, this episode is not for me. But I promise you, if you listen to this wisdom, you will find something within it. She even coaches about business and how you can bring this into your daily life, whether it is you for your business, you personally, you for your family, your friends, like just who you are, the essence of you. And she's just allowing you to bring that to the fore and giving you permission to step out of the confines of yourself, of who you think that you are. It's about breaking down those barriers of who you were taught to be when you were young. She is everything that I expected it to be and more. And I really hope that you enjoy this episode with Kim. Her brand is called Get Your Sexy Back. So it is all about that. It's not just about in the sexual manner. It is all about empowering yourself, whether that is dressing a certain way, whether that is going and getting your hair done, doing whatever makes you feel sexy and powerful within yourself. So there are trigger warnings that are up in the show notes. There is a part where she talks about sexual abuse. It is not the whole episode. It is a portion of it. It is about 5 minutes of the episode. But if you are worried about it, let me know and I can send you the exact time of when it is. And I will put it in the show notes. But the whole episode is so powerful and she really does give you tips on how you can live your best life as you. I'm really excited to share this with you. Yay. So welcome to the podcast today. I have a very special guest with me all the way from Canada. I think you're my first Canadian. You are.
Ooh, I'm so happy and honored to be your first.
Oh, especially with your topic. I feel like it's even more special. Yay.
Yeah, totally.
So welcome, Kim. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm totally honored and can't wait to go through this whole episode with you. I'm excited to chat. About me. Yeah. So I'm an empowerment and sexuality coach. I'm also a sex, love, relationship coach, female sexuality coach, tantric sex coach, all of the things. And I really specialize in love and intimacy and sensuality and sexuality and confidence and empowerment, relationship transformation, jade egg, sacred sexuality, you name it. And what else? I'm a mom. I'm a mom to 3 teenager adults who are 16, 19, 21. I had to count. I had to check my brain. Yeah, they're getting old so quickly, so fast. I've been married almost 22 years. And yeah, another thing I didn't share in there was, and I'm also the founder of Get Your Sexy Back. I have this fabulous, fabulous business that I have moved into. And basically all of that means is like I teach singles and couples how to reconnect to their turn on, how to reconnect to their pleasure, how to reconnect to their body, really activate that turn on and turn it up, heal heartbreak and shame, reclaim the places that they have been most disempowered so that they can step into their unapologetic power, because that's what we all need in this world, more of that And it really shows up everywhere. Like it doesn't just show up in the body or in the bedroom. It shows up in our relationships, in our businesses, in our lives, and everywhere. So it's so, so important. It's all connected.
Oh, I'm so excited. I like as soon as I'm thinking of clients of mine and like friends, I'm like, oh yes, yes, yes. So let's just jump straight in. What does self-love mean to you?
Yeah, self-love. So like even as I just hear that, it's very very nourishing into my body and it feels really good. And to me, it means reconnecting. And that's the part that I'm already feeling the nourishing. Like it means about reconnecting to our innate wisdom, to our power, to the inner knowing that's already inside of us. And to do that involves coming home in our body, honoring our body, listening to that yes, listening to that no, honoring that again, speaking our truth, being our authentic selves, right? And it also means loving like every single inch of our body, not just the places we can see without clothing, with clothing on. I was say without clothing on, with clothing on, but also the places that we ignore, like our bellies, our vulva, our pussy, our pelvic bowl, our breasts, our throat. Like this whole zone is more of our sensitive areas and more of the areas that we put away and hide. So that part of self-love to me means like embracing those, like embracing all of us. And until we do, our full unapologetic selves is not going to show up.
That's so true. You end up hiding like who you are or who you want to be as well. I think that is huge. Oh, I love that. Ooh, I'm excited for where this is going to go. So can you tell us what your self-love journey has looked like?
Yeah, it was definitely a reclamation, a total reclamation, because I wasn't always like this. Like I wasn't in my body at all. I was, raising 3 babies, 3 teens at one point, 3 babies, depending which year we're talking about. And I was disconnected. I was exhausted. I was burnt out. That led into so much anger and frustration and numbness. And it really involved me just reclaiming my body in so many different ways so actually I use for my sexy back approach is reclaim, reconnect, and remember, because I've done it already. So I'll go into those because that's easier way to explain it. But reclaiming is about reclaiming all of those places that we have been really disempowered by, right? The voice, the boundaries, the truth, our truth, being seen, feeling sexy, all of these places where we've given our power away. Maybe not meaning to. Most of the time, it's what we're told to do. And it starts really, really young. We don't do that. Nope, don't, quiet, close your mouth. Nope, don't say anything. We don't air our dirty laundry. All of these messages, sit down, be quiet, cross your legs. So that's the reclaim part. That's really about reclaiming that piece. And I started doing that. And that was hugely powerful. I fell into a program with School of Womanly Arts with Mama Gina and worked with her for 2.5 years, as well as then Layla Martin and Sheila Kelly and so many other amazing, amazing world-renowned teachers. And then I brought in the reconnect, which is the deeper part, which is the reconnecting to our body, to our pleasure, to our pussy, to our sensuality, to learning who and what we are. And when I say pussy, I'm not referring to something vulgar or something that's thrown at us in curse words, like, which is, it is, right? Bitch, vulgar, or bitch, pussy, all of these vulgar words. Instead, it's reclaiming these words and going, yeah, like I am an inner fiery bitch when I need to be. I can stand up for my children. I am owning my whole pelvic bowl. And when we say pussy, we're referring to like the essence of who we are. It goes with our womb, our pelvic bowl, and our vulva. And it's this inner intuition. It's this inner fire. It's this inner power. It's this unshakable truth and wisdom that's already within us. So that is the reconnect piece. And when you do all of this, we come back into remember, which is remembering who the fuck we are. Like really in this unshakable truth that I don't care what's going on around me, who leaves, who comes in, if the world blows up, we have a pandemic, it doesn't matter. I am in my truth and I know what I am meant to do next. And then after that, and then after that. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like
So that's what I did.
You have to like, yes, you have to like let it sit. I hear that. Wow.
Yeah. So I did my own journey first.
Yes.
And then it was like, okay, it is so, so powerful that there's no way I can't share it with the world. It has to happen. Our children have to grow up in a more connected, more authentic, more true, more real, more honest way. And that comes by reconnecting to our body, the place that so many of us have been disconnected from. Many of us are walking around in our heads, going through the motion, stuck in the go, 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 go. Got to get this done. I'll rest when I retire. And no. Yeah.
I feel that.
That's empowerment.
I'm like,
yes.
So especially this question for me, I think is especially important asking someone like you from the Northern Hemisphere, because I'm in South Africa and our schooling is quite different and what you hear. But I want to know, what was your school experience like with other kids and bullying? And then also, did you grow up where you are now?
Yeah, so I wasn't too far away. We're talking Toronto, so 45 minutes away, and then about 45 minutes on the other side of that. So I'm in Waterloo, Ontario. So I was in Toronto for all of my high school years, and then Whitby on the other side of Toronto for my younger, up to grade 7 years. I wanted to say preschool, but I'm like, that's not the right word. But it really was the preschool. The high school was the best time. But yet there still were definitely bullying, sisterhood wounds, a lot of teasing. Because of trauma, whether that, was my own or collective, I also felt like I didn't fit in. And I think many, many, many humans on this planet feel that way, but none of us speak it until we're asked.
That's true. And I think it's like, well, it's obviously you in Canada, not America, but America is like, you see it as this massive bullying culture. Compared to here, like you don't see it, but we don't have as much as there. I know it's a much bigger country, and that's also why on the scale that it is. But you always think, when you think of bullying at school, you immediately think of America. And I think that there's so many problems with kids, and also it stems from parents, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And interestingly enough, I don't always think of America. I just think of it's unfortunately kids, and it comes from parents. Right. And it is, I've always taught my kids, like, it is, yes, you get to stand up for yourself. Yes, you get to say no. Yes, you get to tell somebody. And can you bring that compassion in? Because most likely they are coming from the house with the most abuse and neglect and trauma. Not always, but generally they're the ones hurting the most.
And even if the neglect is that the parents are workaholics and are never at home, and they're left with a nanny or by themselves, even worse, that they just don't actually know, and they actually are hurting because they are lonely.
They don't know it, but yeah, they are hurting. They are in pain. They are not getting their bonds and their trauma bonds and their natural attachment. Like, none of that is working. None of that is relating. They're just stuck, and they're uncomfortable, and they don't feel good, and they're lashing out. Now, it does not feel good when you're going through it and receiving it. It sucks. I received a lot, like right up into university.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. And actually in 2017, when I started to really reclaim these places that I've been the most disempowered, it started in sisterhood. And I was scared crapless because I was like, women are not safe. And I've always hung out more with men for years and years and years. And then I learned, because we named it, because we talked about it, that there's such beautiful, beautiful vulnerability and honesty when we can all show up that way, and we can be held, and we can witness, and we can heal. Like, we can actually heal in sisterhood, even with all the wounding, whether it's from, school and bullies or mothers or whole lineage. It doesn't matter. We can do the healing in that work.
on that as well, just as you said that, I saw something on Instagram a while ago where they were saying if you see someone living their best life or a woman and something triggers you, if she's doing really well, if she's wearing something, a certain something, and whatever she is doing and it triggers you, it is not about her, it's about you.
Every single trigger is about ourselves. It's a piece of us that we secretly desire, or we are so freaking afraid of. Like, and we were taught this also when we started entering school and when the arts. If you desire something, or if you see somebody else desiring something, it's because you secretly want it too. And generally that will trigger us, right? There's something there, or it could be they're living fully out and being their fully, embodied sexual selves. And you're like, that's not what we do. No, that's very slutty. Like, we're taught these messages.
Yeah.
And this is the patriarchal conditioning teaching these messages. And patriarchal doesn't mean men. It means the society that we're living in, and men are affected as well. And these messages, these conditioning, these lines that we are told are not true. And when we can start to break them down one at a time, starting with sisterhood or jealousy or envy, pleasure, body, sexuality, when we start to break them down and look at them and dissect them and rename them in our bodies, rewire them in our brains, is really, really powerful.
Sure. Yeah. And it makes so much sense. Even for me growing up, I got teased as well. I think everyone has been teased or bullied in some way or form in their whole life. It doesn't matter if it was one day, if it was 1 month, 1 year, 10 years, everyone has had some form of bullying. So yeah, that definitely resonates with me as well. So how has being a mom changed you?
In so many ways. Talk about patience. Holy cow. Yeah, patience, embracing, my truth versus their truth, not getting stuck up in always giving to them, still coming back and giving and serving to me. I have different relationships with each of them, which is so, so cool, right? So it has changed me in so many ways that I honestly couldn't name them. It's something I knew I always wanted to do and always wanted to be. I was always attracted to young babies and kids, and it was easy to step into motherhood. A lot of ways. It also took me into a deep, deep dive of burnout and depression and exhaustion, adrenal fatigue, thyroid burnout. Like, it took me into so many different dips and valleys, but at the same time, that is what, turned on the red light, the siren of going, you need to listen to my body, like now, like listen to me, because that doesn't have to happen. It's the disconnection from our body, from trauma, from assault, from all of this stuff that's led to it being this way. So many ways. It's way more fun being a mom, being more empowered in my body, like now. Oh, way more fun.
And also, if you hadn't become a mom, you probably wouldn't be here doing what you're doing. Like, it almost had to be part of your journey to lead you to this.
Absolutely.
Yay for us.
Yes, absolutely.
Yay for them. Yay for those.
Yeah, and they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. Them being more of adults now. It's so cool to see and to connect.
Did you always want more than one?
Yeah, I did. Looking back, I'm like, damn, one would have been so much easier. Really much easier. But I got my girl at the end, which was really fun.
Oh, I love that. That's always like my happy story for everyone, when they're like, boy, girl.
Yeah. And I do love the boys, but it's so cool having a girl too.
It really is. Hey, my favorites. I love having a girl.
Jane has this incredibly intuitive, feels too little a word, for understanding and relating her discoveries and what is shared with her from the universe to our lives in incredible ways that aren't necessarily predicting the future, but what they do is reinforce our decision making. I've had the experience. I've been lucky enough to have the experience of have Jane do an angel card reading for me and various other things. And what they do is empower. A lot of people have this misunderstanding that these things like the tarot and pulling cards and card decks and stuff are a bit woo-woo and fake. A lot of people call them fake, but the universe always speaks and your spirit is always speaking. Unfortunately, owing to the pressures of life, we cannot always be completely in touch with what our spirit is saying and in touch with what the universe is offering us. And what Jane does with her angel card readings is enable us to be reinforced and empowered by what the universe is giving us and be empowered through our decision making. One of those decision making processes for me was adopting rescue dogs. And as you can tell from, I'm just going to leave them barking in because, yeah, it's just part of life.
So, what self-love practices do you do each day? You really have to, as a mom, create the time.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I do a ton. I'm going to miss some here. Okay. But a whole pile. Like the mornings are mine. Now this is as an older mom, right? Like older teenagers. The mornings are mine. Like I don't work. Normally it's before noon. You got me at 11 today, but typically not. And I'm really, really firm on those boundaries. Those are mine. This is my time. This is when I work out. This is if I need to, I sleep in, depending how late I worked the night before. Lots and lots of pleasure is infused into every single piece and part of my day. So this took time, right? First learning what was pleasure to me, what lit me up, what turned me on, picking things that feel good. So starting with clothing, what feels really good and amazing on my body, essential oils, what is going to, drop me in to presence, to reconnecting, following pleasure in the food I eat. If I don't want to eat something, I don't eat it, right? Like you really want to, a lot of us got served those messages. You eat what's put in front of you, even if you don't like it. The music I listen to, everything, including who I talk with, who I spend time with, who I listen to, whether it's a podcast or something like that. These things make a difference. So basically, I've infused pleasure into every single one of my senses through every single day. I get in water every single day, whether it's a bath or pool. There'd be the odd day where it's just a shower, but as I say, just a shower, like I need to ground and to balance in water. And that's really important to me. Daily sacred sexuality, sacred pleasure practices are part of my every single day. And they can be 5 minutes to 60 minutes. It doesn't matter. They can even just be a simple dance break. I dance, I move my body, I feel my body in ways that turn me on, that excite me. And I apply a body butter or oil or lotion or something like that to like every single inch of my body every single day.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's something.
Whole pile of things.
I think that's something that we wouldn't do. And you almost, if you are pregnant or when you're pregnant, you suddenly, I need to put body butter on my stomach. Like suddenly you're putting in the oil and stuff, but you don't necessarily do it in winter and all the year round. But it is something, and it's probably like the quickest thing that you actually forget. Or if you don't have time, you don't make the time for that. You're like, I'll just do my hair quickly. I'll just do my makeup. I won't put the lotion or whatever. I would think it's this thing that people like don't do when they have to like let something go.
Good girling it. It's good girling it to show up and to be the good mom and to be the good wife and not leave the kids too long. But you can involve the kids too. Like they can come in and you can dance to music and put body butter on your entire body. Like what a ritual to share with young kids if you're really struggling to like find the time. Yeah. It's so important. You could even get like, I remember getting little Kyle, he's almost 22. So like 2, 3, 4 to put cream on my back. Yeah. Right? They don't do a great job, but they can do it as long as you move your hair out of the way.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, okay. And then they're like, do me. Okay. Right.
It's like that toddler age is so fun. She's turning 3 this week. And it's like, please go give me the remote. Please go give that. And they actually want to do it. It's amazing.
It's amazing. Yes. Especially when you include them.
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna remember that as well. So what led you to becoming an empowerment and sexuality coach? And did you get support from those around you?
Oh, yeah. So my own journey, and this is a trigger warning. And if you're not able to listen to this totally right now, come back or make sure you're resourcing yourself. Taking care of yourself, resourcing yourself is what that means. So I woke up in the middle of the night at 14 to being sexually assaulted by my stepfather. And I told my mother the next day. It was an absolutely horrific night. And when I told my mom, I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to do. They're always telling you to tell your parents, right? And I'm like, I'm still in major trauma response, and I can see that now. And I was like, we just have to tell them and everything will be okay. And I told her, and she believed me initially, but then within a few hours, she didn't. So she sided with him, and that was that he was pulling up my covers, which wasn't happening. So it was really, really hard. Really realized right then and there that I was really on my own. I put up a lot of walls. I remember like making that decision and put up a lot of walls around my heart, around my body. That probably led into the major disconnection and numbness to survive, to stay safe, which led into adrenal fatigue, in my 20s and 30s, thyroid issues, postpartum depression, that hormonal imbalances, pain in my hips and my pelvis. One thing that I didn't realize either at the time was, as I gave birth to my first, I really had a problem nursing on my left breast. I was assaulted by him on my left breast. Like that's what I woke up to, with his mouth, which I had never had a boyfriend, even I wanted to say child, but a boyfriend or anybody do that to me. And I ended up getting mastitis 3 times with almost the first 2 pregnancies. I think it was twice in the second pregnancy, because we were nursing and I knew I had to nurse on both sides. It wasn't like I was skipping one side. I was definitely doing the other side, but I kept getting mastitis. And that was like my body screaming at me. It's those beacons, right? Going, listen to me, because I had integrated trauma. I was holding a lot of pain and stuffing it down and disconnecting it. Even if I'd have flashbacks during sex with my husband, I was like pushing it down and nope, not going there. Right. And when we do this, it's hurting our body. It's going to start showing up eventually, which it did. Adrenal fatigue, thyroid, hormone imbalances, low back pain constantly. So this led me to my own journey, right? It led me to the journey that I was sharing about earlier, about really reclaiming my body, reclaiming my truth. I called out my stepfather and stepfather and mother in 2017 and said, like, what the fuck's going on? Like 27 years here. Are you kidding me? And she still doesn't believe me. And that is okay. That is like her shit, not mine. I know that. I know my truth. And that led me to reconnecting, right, to my body, healing this deep wounding, because it's not just from this assault. It's also from her, the betrayal of our mother. It's also from society. It's being told what a girl and a woman and a mom should be doing. It's catcalls. It's these are your bits, your lady bits and all of this, but don't talk about it and definitely don't have sex till you're married. Right? It's the stuff we are not taught when we don't name our parts. Like even me calling it a vulva, there might be people listening going, vulva what? You talking about the car? No, I'm talking about like that is vulva. That is your vulva. But most of us are taught vagina. We don't even name our parts properly for women. We do for men. They know it's a penis really, really quickly. So this all like comes into assault. Could be, even a boyfriend where you wanted to say no, but you didn't feel you were safe or comfortable to say no. And maybe there's a lot feeds into this, right? We want safety, love, and belonging at our core. Our nervous system does, our unconscious somatic body and brain does. And we will do what we need to do to stay safe. But the messages we're taught are, just do what the guy wants, just show up for your husband, just put out when you don't want to. And this starts to cultivate a lot of confusion in our bodies, which leads to disconnection. So reclaiming those places, reclaim, reconnect, remember, really just doing all that healing work. That led me to going deeper and deeper and deeper. And then that led me to Layla Martin and working with sex, love, and relationships and Tantra and sacred sexuality and all of this yumminess. And that was just bringing it all together.
So when you created your whole program and said, I'm going to do this, this is my work, were your close friends like, you want what now? Or is it part of who you are that they were like, oh yeah, this makes so much sense, do it?
Yeah. So what happens when you start to reclaim different places is generally the people who aren't your people fall away. Anyway, I was also already in the School of Womenly Arts for a couple of years. I already had a huge support group in those women. And it gets to the point when you get to that remember point, you have this unshakable confidence in you and in your body that it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. Because literally, if your body said, do this now, you're like, okay, because you're listening, because your body always knows the exact next step for you. We're taught it's in our heads. It's not in our heads, it's in our body. But we're also not listening to those sensations and those gut feelings and those, stabs in our solar plexus or upper belly or weight in our heart. And those are the things that we want to listen to because, you don't care what anybody thinks then. You really don't. And I had a ton of support and still do have a ton of support. And then there's people who just look at me from afar and then take 5 years to contact me and go, I don't know what you've been doing, but I want it. It's like, okay.
I like her shine. Okay. She's shining.
I want that. I got a beautiful message today from a complete stranger in the UK who's like, I've been listening to your podcast and I just wanted to send you a message and tell you how much I love what you're doing. Keep sharing, keep being real, keep being truthful. We need this in the world. And I'm like, oh, because sometimes we feel like we're talking to the void, right? So to get these messages, they're so powerful.
And then once every so often you'll get one of those and you're like, okay, this is why.
Yeah, I'm starting to be able to digest this and hold this because it's about the 6th person reaching out in the last 4 weeks. So I'm like, a few of them men, a few of them new clients that like didn't even want a discovery call. They're like, yeah, we're in.
You see, you're shining so brightly that you're just attracting the right people, your soul clients.
Yeah. And it's not easy to step into this unshakable truth on your own. You do want a community. You do want to find a community where you can be supported and held so you can show up this way, a community that isn't threatened if you're going to brag and celebrate on all your amazing wins. Because if they do want that, if they are triggered, they know also that they want that.
I love it. So when you tell people that you're a sexuality coach, what is their reaction? And do you think their reaction reflects their own upbringing and feelings about themselves?
Definitely the last part. And there's generally, like, they definitely are like, ooh, not everybody, but there's definitely a piece. Depends where they're at. Like if they're younger, they can be really, really open to hearing it. And then if they're older, like gone through their 40s and perimenopause and such, they can be like, yeah, I've had that calling. I don't know what it is, but tell me more now. I was out the other day and at a salon I go to, and they asked if I was coming in today. I was like, I got a few podcast recordings. And they're like, you have a podcast? And I was like, yeah, it's Get Your Sexy Back. And they're like, what do you do? And I started telling them, and they kept me for 45 minutes talking. They wanted to know everything. And then the next day, yesterday I was in, and the other woman was there, and she was like, they were talking about you. Can you tell me more? And I told her a little bit. And And I could sense a little more, depending on the upbringing, she really wanted it, but she also had this, I went to a vagina coach, she said, or a vagina therapist, which she meant pelvic therapy, somebody to help release tension in her pelvic floor. And she goes, that stuff was weird. I was like, okay, then you might think I'm weird. But, she wants it, but her conditioning is telling her that's not safe, right? So there's a little bit of both. And most people have this inner, they know. So even your daughter, 2 and 3, twirling around, dancing like she doesn't give a damn what the world thinks, saying what she wants, sharing her yeses, her nos, eating what she loves, not eating what she doesn't want to eat, like attitude, like through the roof, right? That is our true authentic self. And it never goes away. It's in there somewhere. So when people start to hear something different, there's this like yearning for it. They know that is what they want. They know that's what they once had.
Yeah. And we just told to be quiet and to be small and to stop being so bright and stop. Oh, and even something stupid. But when my hair, my hair is like purple. When my hair starts fading, it's so interesting. Some people, when I do it, I did this morning for you, get my sexy back.
It's beautiful.
But when I have it bright, there's certain people that love it and will comment on it. And then when it starts fading and washing out to that like pastel, so many people are like, oh, I love this on you. I love the pastel. It's nice the other way, but I love it like this. And I'm like, girl, it is one wash away from being brassy. I hate it when it's like this. Because you never know when it's going to be. And I'm like, one wash. And then it goes from like beautiful pastel to like, man, but it's so interesting. Like, tone it down, basically, is what I like you tone it down.
People don't want you to be too bright, too much. And that's conditioning. They actually do. But if you're too much, their subconscious is telling them that then they're too little.
Yeah.
It's very unconscious. Yeah. We can take that back because that's bullshit. Like just bullshit.
There's space for everyone. There's so much space.
Absolutely. When we shine brighter, other people shine brighter.
Yeah.
When we speak our desires, other people speak theirs. When they're like, oh, you can do that. I want that too. And we stop being repressed and disconnected and like walking around robots, right? Turned off. Instead, we become alive. Yes. You keep that hair dark purple, bright purple. I love it.
I don't feel like myself. It sounds so weird, but I don't feel like myself when it's washed out. Like only like today, I'm like, yes, I'm back. I feel like I've got a bit of a chill because I was out in the cold the other night, but I'm like, I feel more like myself when it's brighter. It just makes more sense, like it's just more me, I feel like this, even my regrowth, I'm letting it grow. I like a bit of dark and then into the purple, but even then I'm like, I just don't feel like myself unless it's like bright, and sassy. And
I have red in my hair, but it is, there we go. It is needing to be done soon, even though it looks bright there, but it needs to be done soon. So, and when I first did it, I just put one stripe in, like it's all underneath. These pieces need to lighten up a little bit. And they're in highlights. In the beginning, I was like, just one. And then it was like, okay, a few more. And then one time she put one at the side. I'm like, oh, I don't want people to see it. That was years ago. Now I'm like, brighter, please. Let's go. Like, this is the fun part.
I also started like that. I had like, they bleached just underneath. My hair was always short in a bob. I was like, just here. And then I did a pink and then added some of that. Yeah, that's how it starts. And then eventually your whole head is bleached and you're like, what happened?
So awesome. Mine doesn't need to be bleached because I'm pretty light to start. Yeah. But it's pretty red. I love it when it's like bright pinky red.
And it's fun and it makes you feel sassy and you can wash it out. You know what I mean? Like it's not super permanent. It's just
mine's permanent. Mine's permanent.
I'll tell my friends, I'm like, just try it. Like you've already got the streaks. And they're like, no, I can't. I'm like,
yeah, you can.
You can change it. Like it's just
you can change it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's fun. But that comes with being ourselves, right? And so many of us are so caught in what other people think. What are people going to say? What are they going to do? And those are natural fears because, as I said earlier, we crave that safety, that love, and that belonging. And we don't need that so much anymore, but our primal brains needed that hundreds of years ago when we lived in the caves or the huts or the whatever it was, because if not, you were cast out and most likely you wouldn't survive.
True. Hey?
You'd be killed. You'd die of one temperature or the other, starvation, whatever that may be. We don't need that as much right now, but our primal brains, our unconscious just still deeply craves to belong, to be loved, to be held, and to be safe. So yeah, that's why we have to unpack these pieces.
Yeah, makes sense. It's all from the olden days.
Mm-hmm.
So, big question. What is your favorite thing about the work that you do?
Seeing other humans, and I say humans because I work with men and women, and non-binary, of really seeing them come into their own power, like really stepping into their power, to their light, to their turn on, to their juice, to feeling alive and going after their desires. That's easy, fun.
Yeah. Short and simple.
Yeah.
Love it. No. And then what is one thing you wish you could tell younger you?
Trust yourself. That inner girl who wants to dance, spin, knows the truth and isn't afraid to speak up the truth and knows what's best for her. Like, trust yourself. Even through all the muck in the years where you still have to, live under parents' roofs and be, supported by them and so forth, no matter what, trust yourself and come back to that trust.
Yeah, so powerful. Hey, like literally just trust. And even at this age, we're telling ourselves, trust your body, trust your mind, trust your gut, trust. It's like everything is actually centered around trust. And it's usually trusting within ourselves.
Yeah. And sometimes it comes with conditioning. Trust yourself, but don't do that. Trust yourself. Oh, but don't do that. Which when you get down to that real trust, it's like, no, what's right for you may not be right for somebody else. Like, trust yourself.
Loving it. So what is one tip for the listeners to get more in touch with their sexuality and self?
Start with listening here. Definitely. If you want to, get a little bit more, but you're not sure, you can listen to my podcast, Get Your Sexy Back, and get tons. We have tons of guests, but tons of episodes as well with just me or my past partner who was on with me. You can just start exploring, start trusting, start feeling. If you want even a little bit more, you can get in my Facebook group, private Facebook group for female identifying humans, which is Get Your Sexy Back, and start exploring. You can follow me personally if you'd like to. I put everything on my personal page as well. And then if you want to still dip your toe in a little bit more, I would suggest my Sexy Back, the Sacred Pleasure membership, because I created it at such a beautiful price point that is the most inclusive. It's like $64 a month, where you can get some practices, you can get some sacred pleasure practices, you can get some workshops and coaching and ideas and new things to think about. You can get some journaling tips as well as some other practices. And that's all in there for $64 a month. You can show up live and go to the 2 live calls a month. And if you just totally want to hide right now, you can just get the recordings, which is totally okay too. So you really get to show up however you want in that. Even if you have questions, you can email me them if you're not going to be on the live, and I'll answer them anonymously. Like, I'm really making it as easy and as nervous system regulating for humans to come in and explore this, to start to dip their toe in, to feel more. And if you really want more, hop on a free discovery call with me. Honestly, you can message me anywhere. I'm not so good at replying to Instagram messages. I can't see them half the time. They're like hidden. And Instagram's not one of my amazing friends. I prefer Facebook. I finally mastered that. But you can message me, and definitely we can hop on a call. We can just talk and just start to see what it is that you want.
I love it. Yeah, dip your toe. And I think also podcasts are such a safe space. Like, you can just listen in the car, at home, whatever you're doing. It's like, it's a nice way of also getting to know you and to hear you, what you're saying, and to get a vibe, and then you can like hear our personalities. And then that's when you're like, oh, I resonate with her. Let me go and dip in a little bit more. Let me do this. Let me do that. So I think it is, it's really important to be able to do that as well. So I was going to say, tell us about your podcast, Get Your Sexy Back, and your membership. So you have,
there you go.
But tell us more about your podcast. So what kind of topics? Obviously it is all about getting your sexy back, but what kind of episodes? What is your favorite episode you've ever done? Oh, it's a hard one.
Yeah. So Get Your Sexy Back is for everyone. I found out recently 2 men that I know listen to it, which is so cool. And I don't know them like I do now, but of them. We talk about everything from empowerment to sexuality, to body, to reconnecting, hormones, business. So I also work with people in business as well, because learning how to pussify your business, your body, and your life is all connected. So we talk about money. We have different business coaches, different people on there. There's so much. All of it is on there. So tons and tons and tons.
For everyone. Like, it doesn't matter if you are wanting the business side, you'll start listening to those episodes and everything will resonate in some kind of way.
Totally. And it's all connected. That's why I launched Pussify Your Biz, Body, and Life, because one of the places that I most wanted to, and when I say pussify, again, I'm talking about turning on, lighting up, juicing up, everything we've been talking about, what feels good to your body. And many of us can start to learn how to do that in our life. And then we can start to do it in our body. But then we're like, but business, we're like this. And it's like, no, your body still knows the exact same things that are best for you, for your business. So you can start to learn how to trust your body and your business. And that's why I launched that. And other people come to me and they want a little bit of both. They're like, okay, I want to reconnect to body. Now let's focus on business. Now I want body. Okay, what about my relationship? Okay, now business. So I already had been doing this kind of work. So I started to launch this. It's private coaching in this program to do this. So it's really cool. And everything's tailored to you, right? Whether it's private coaching or in this private coaching program, it doesn't matter. Everything is tailored to what you want and is going as slow as you need. And that's really important because some people aren't ready to dive into the sexuality part, but they want to start turning on. They want to start exploring. And then slowly they want to do more.
Yeah.
So I answered a few questions in there.
I love it. So you mentioned where we can find you. I'm going to put everything in the show notes and on YouTube so everyone can click through. But so your Instagram, tell us your Instagram. Is it Get Your Sexy Back?
Get Your Sexy Back Coach with underscores between each word.
Okay.
Websites, getyoursexyback.ca. You can think of Canada for that one. I wanted .com, but somebody's hoarding it and not even using it, which is a shame. I know, right? You can also look up my name, kimcoffin.com, goes right to my web to Get Your Sexy Back. Facebook, I'm on Kim Coffin. My private group is Get Your Sexy Back. It's pretty consistent. Get Your Sexy Back.
It'll come up, but I'll put all the links.
Yeah, you may have to say podcast. Otherwise, you're going to get the song by Justin Timberlake, right? You may have to say Get Your Sexy Back podcast or Get Your Sexy Back coach. Otherwise, you'll find me. Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll find the song, dance to the song. And then while you're dancing, you can search it. Just get a little bit of movement in there too,
Yeah.
I love it. This has been incredible. I mean, we had a discovery call to chat about whether we were a good fit for each other to be on each other's podcast. And that was meant to be 20 minutes. And I think we did 40 minutes just chatting on that. So it was so nice. So if you are wanting to book a discovery call, I highly recommend it because it's just so nice. And you are just, I think also when people do have that on their website, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's quite scary, but it was so chilled and it was so fun. And we just chatted and it was just, you are just so authentic and exactly what they're seeing on the screen or listening now, you are exactly like that off camera and off microphone as well, which I think is really important. And people have said that about me as well. And I think that is important, is that we are living in our truths, we are being our authentic selves, and we are giving other people permission to do the same. And I think that is how you change the world, one person at a time, showing them that it is safe and it is beautiful to share your own inner light and to be who you want to be as well.
You said that beautifully.
Thank you.
Yes, you said that absolutely perfect. Yeah, a lot of people are, not a lot of people, but a lot of coaches per se can be very, very pushy, or they're trained in very bro marketing. And as you can already tell, I don't have any bro in me. I can do strategy and marketing, but we are going to be, it's feminine business, and that includes trauma aware business. So there is not pushy sales by any means with me on anything. I just won't do it because that's not helpful.
No. And it's just, why would you want people to come to you that don't actually want to come to you? Like, no.
It's only because they were taught it, but most likely it didn't feel good to their body, but they're not connected to their body. So they were just doing what they were told, which is everything else we were talking about, right? It's how it shows up.
Yeah. So fascinating. Oh my God, we could talk for hours.
I know.
But I'll put everything in the show notes, and I'm super excited. I'm going to be on your podcast, so I'll share that when I'm on there as well. And everyone can go listen, but go start listening to her podcast already now, so that when I'm on, then, you already like know the landscape and you know everything already. So thank you so much for making the time, especially because I crept into your morning because of our time difference. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. I think that everyone is going to really get so much out of it. I think I was thinking about it when I was walking up here, because my office is separate to the house, and I was thinking sacral chakra is like massive for everyone, even me. Like, I'm like, there's certain things I'm like, ooh, like, and I'm almost like a little bit prudish because of our childhoods and everything that we taught. And I was just thinking, coming up here, there's so many people that need to hear this, and that it gives you permission to not be so prudish as well. And that's not actually coming from us. It's just coming from our parents and their parents and. So I think it's so important to share this message, and I love what you're doing. And I think that it is so beautiful for everyone out there.
Thank you so much. I love your reframe and your digestion of the whole episode. It was so perfect. And I'm really, really, truly honored to be on here and to connect with you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So thank you, Kim, for being here. And I'll put everything in the show notes, and I will see you guys next week. Have you heard about our Self-Love Club? It is a monthly subscription that delivers self-love themed content directly to you every month. It is my favorite offering that I'm doing because it is just so interesting. It is so introspective. It is so rewarding for myself and for all of you. And the aha moments that you are getting every single month is just mind-blowing. I love getting the feedback from those that are doing it, and it just makes my day every time. So what exactly is it? It is a monthly community membership where you get themed self-love content that changes every single month. There are 2 tiers available to you. So tier 1 is all of the content, which is a themed video, guided meditation, journal prompts, personal task, mantra to print, desktop mantra, and a phone screen mantra. Tier 2 is all of the content and a monthly live community call with a guest expert talking all about their field and how it integrates with self-love. For example, how trauma is stored in the body and how we can release it, how your human design shows you who you really are, how you can be more confident, how you can work with your astrology to follow your self-love path, and so many more. The recording is available to those who can't make it live and is uploaded directly after the live session. So from just $2.25 per month for tier 1 and $3.95 per month for tier 2, you too can find change within yourself and to learn all of those things about yourself that you never knew. Things that will propel you forward, that will allow you to release your inner light and find exactly who you are and to shine from within. So the Self-Love Club is for you if you want to be happier, feel more content with your life, speak more kindly to yourself, learn what patterns you're repeating, how to move through trauma, how to manifest your dreams, how to heal the mother wound, how to nurture yourself more, how to be more confident, how to love your body to love your life, how to live authentically as you, and much, much more. So if you need to learn to set some boundaries in your life, to make time for yourself and to stop speaking so negatively to yourself, then hop onto the link in our show notes and you'll be taken directly to the website to learn a little bit more about the Self-Love Club. Or head to www.unselfishlyme.com/the Self-Love Club. Thanks for listening to Unselfishly Me. Follow us on Instagram at unselfishlyme and check out our website www.unselfishlyme.com.